Hello, welcome to Elite Weather. Mr. G here with an analytical forecast as we take a look at what the model output is going to be for at least the next 2 weeks here as we move through the month of March. We've started meteorological spring on the 1st, but as we move closer to the middle of the month and we move into the common knowledge first of spring, so about the 20th or the 21st or so. Let's take a look at our map here. This is the GFS and what the GFS is painting for tomorrow about the 6 o'clock hour in the evening on the east. And here we are as we're taking a look here, and we got an area of low pressure that's going to be moving across the upper Midwest here. As we look at this, we can see this here across the upper Midwest. All right, there's our area of low pressure right there in Indiana and Illinois. So that's going to be bringing some rainfall across this region and a little bit of light snow across Wisconsin and Minnesota. Rain is going to mix in with that as well. So we're going to be seeing pretty light snowfall totals across that region. About 1 to 3 inches can be expected up that way as we have some rain that's going to mix in, that's going to keep those snow totals fairly low. We've been seeing a lot of melting taking place as we've seen those temperatures above freezing through the day, and that is expending a lot of energy to melt snow. Other than warm the air above. So we're seeing that. So that's kind of a good thing, because if we can minimize the amount of snow that we're seeing, it can help melt it a little bit fine, a little quicker, and make it less dangerous with refreezing in the evening. But out to the west, we do have a storm system that is going to get shunted to the south along the California coast. So that is going to create an interesting situation as we move through the week. And we're going to take a look at that as we progress through. So let's progress into Tuesday. Our Monday system is going to head on off toward the east, slide off to the southeast a little bit. But a piece of energy is going to bring a little bit of snow into Tuesday through portions of the northeast along the interior here in Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, and the upstate New York. Can pick up a little bit of light snow as we move into the beginning of the week. But then we have this piece of energy here across the upper Midwest and the northern plains that's going to spread a little bit of snow across both Dakotas as well as into northern Nebraska. It's going to be a little bit warmer to the south here, closer to our area of low pressure that is coming up out of the southern plains. We're going to be seeing that low develop right in here. And here we are as we move into Wednesday. Here is our area of low pressure here, and that's going to be bringing rain and thunderstorms across the southern plains and through the Ozarks and the mid to lower Mississippi River Valley. This is where we can see a few inches of rain that could lead to some flash flooding and severe thunderstorms as well. We're going to see our snow typically here across the upper Midwest, Minnesota, and the Dakotas. But again, this will be fairly light in accumulations of 1 to 3 inches that we're going to be seeing max out of this. Some freezing rain is going to be possible through portions of Iowa and northern Missouri and northern Illinois as well. We could be seeing some freezing rain. And again, our storm here developing across the west, that's going to be very slow in getting going here. So let's move on into Thursday. We're seeing this start to further develop some intensification, and you can see a little bit of a negative tilt starting to develop as we head into Wednesday. Here's our deformation band as that snow intensifies across the central plains. Our rain intensifies across the southern plains, and we got that heavy rain here across portions of the Tennessee Valley. Thunderstorms, some severe. We're going to be watching for the development of severe thunderstorms across Arkansas, Kentucky, and Tennessee. Again, Oklahoma and North Texas as well. So that's going to be no exception across that region. And then as we head into Friday, our snow band is going to intensify across eastern Wisconsin, in the Green Bay area, we can pick up a few inches of snow, and we're going to be seeing light snow continue across Minnesota. Again, light accumulations as rain will try to mix in as well. As we have a fairly weak area of low pressure, kind of a double barrel setting up here. We have a cold core low to the north, and we have a warmer area of low pressure developing off to the south and east here, and that low is going to bring heavier rainfall through the Appalachian Mountains area here that can lead to some flooding in the foothills, a little bit of snow across the eastern Appalachians in the higher elevations of Virginia as we move into Friday. And then on Saturday the 18th, we're seeing our low pressure center kind of take, again, we got our double barrel system moving across the mid-Atlantic and into the Great Lakes. We're going to be seeing our light accumulations continue across Michigan and into the eastern upstate New York. And then we're going to be seeing heavier snow across the Adirondack mountain range. Things could get a little bit heavy, maybe 5 to 8 inches might be possible, and then rain is going to continue across the 95 corridor. Again, no snow for you folks across the 95. Our western storm takes place here. We're getting heavy snow across the Cascade in the Sierra Nevada, and in the central Rockies. In the northern Rockies, we're going to be seeing a bit more snow as well, adding to your already prosperous snowfall totals that you've seen this winter. And that rain is going to start to spread down the coast. LA and San Diego, Orange County as well, going to be picking up some rainfall later this week. High pressure moves in across the west. Our storm slides off to the east here. We're going to be seeing it across the Great Lakes and the Midwest here, the upper Midwest. More light snow as we head into the weekend. So Saturday and Sunday, we're going to be seeing rain across the Tennessee Valley, the Mid-South, the lower Mississippi River Valley, and the Ozarks. And then we're going to be seeing snow across the Illinois Valley, as well as into Iowa, Minnesota, and the Dakotas, Nebraska as well. We're going to be seeing that snow a little bit heavier here to the north of our area of low pressure, across portions of Iowa and western Illinois. The GFS has been a little sketchy, so we're going to see how it pans out and if it comes in line with the European model. Since we haven't seen much in the way of heavy snow across this area this winter, I'm a little bit skeptical about whether or not that's going to pan out or not. So I'm not going to hang my hat on heavy snow outbreaking here because we haven't really seen it this winter. We'll have to see if the models stay consistent throughout the week. So that was how that is going to be. Here we are as we take a look at Monday, next Monday, the 13th. We get an elongated system here. As you can see, our area of low pressure across Michigan and Ontario. And then we might see a deformation band set up where we could see snow across northern Minnesota, continue across Wisconsin and the upper peninsula of Michigan. But then we see heavy snow break out across Pennsylvania and portions of New York. Again, with the lack of snow that we've seen there, we'll have to keep an eye on this and watch for model consistency from overall run to run. But again, I'm not hanging my hat on this output right here because it hasn't been there all winter, and this pattern is pretty much following the same pattern that we've seen all winter. So again, I'm not hanging my hat on this snow for mid-Pennsylvania. It could be we get a little bit, but mostly rain. I'm thinking it's going to be mostly rainfall if the pattern continues with what we've been seeing. But that rain will be there across the southeast because we've been seeing that pattern for most of the winter. So we'll see that heavy rain down along the Gulf Coast and into the southeast as well, with some severe thunderstorms and that potential for flash flooding. And then again on the west coast, we've seen that consistent rainfall along the coast. So we're going to see that again as well. I do think this is going to pan out where we're going to be seeing that rain along the coastal ranges of California. And that's going to eventually move in and bring that snow through the Sierra Nevada. And again, we're going to be seeing snow through the Cascades and through the Rockies and the Northern Rockies as well. I think that will pan out. And we're going to be seeing our low pressure here across the Great Lakes through Michigan. We will see that snow across the Upper Peninsula and the boot of Michigan and into southern Ontario. I think we could possibly see a double barrel set up here as well across the Northeast. I think we have this coastal storm that's going to be mostly rainfall. We're looking at a nor'easter setup here, but that potential there for heavy snow. We could see that heavy snow. We'll have to keep an eye on that and see if that is consistent. As we get further out in the GFS, it can get a little bit more unreliable, and so I'm a little bit worried that that unreliability is going to be here as well. I think the GFS is getting a little bit overexcited. I think this should be mostly a green setup. So rain is going to be possible again, but again, we'll have to keep an eye on it. This is going to run day after day. So we're going to have to look at the consistency of the model output. But right now, it's painting that heavier snow across the mid-Atlantic and into portions of the Northeast. But it's taking it out over the ocean a little bit here. So that would mean some snow possibly for Boston, even down to New York City as well. It's painting beneficial snowfall or meaningful snowfall across the 95 corridor finally. But again, we haven't seen it all winter, so we'll have to look for the model consistency in the GFS and its agreement with the euro, because the euro is not really painting that really for right now. And we're going to take a look at a composite of the euro. The euro does not go out as far as the GFS. The euro gives us about 10 days, where the GFS can go out 20 days. So here we are as we're looking at the model, the 15th. This is the Wednesday, March 15th. Again, a nor'easter is painting a big nor'easter here across the Northeast. Okay, so we have to look for that model consistency. I have more confidence in this storm on the West Coast because it's what we've seen. We've seen big, the Pineapple Express, the atmospheric rivers. I've been seeing that consistency from the European model as well. So I have more confidence in this storm than I have in this storm on the East Coast. And we'll see that slither of a area of snow across the Central Plains. I think this is a little bit ambitious as well right in here because we have a snow deficit in this region as well. And I'm seeing a southerly flow here. So this means it should be warmer across this region at this time of the month here. So I have a little bit less confidence in the snow here. Maybe a little bit more confidence in the snow here than I'm seeing here. I'm looking for more rain across this region. Or maybe we can even see freezing rain. I would believe that better than I would heavy snow right in this region because we haven't seen it out there right now. We're not having any snow on the ground at this time, but here is our western atmospheric river-based storm, or Pineapple Express. And I would have more confidence in this storm happening. So let's move on to the 16th. Here is our western storm coming on shore. We have our snow across the Rockies, rain and thunderstorms across the Southwest, California, Southern California, heavy rain again, heavy rain across the Southern Rockies, Arizona. I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit more snow right here across northern Arizona along I-40 through Kingman and Flagstaff. Gallup, New Mexico. I wouldn't be surprised to see that. I'm thinking this is a little bit green than what we're used to seeing this winter. So again, but we'll have to see. This could end up being a warmer storm. And if it's a warmer storm, then that would pan out. But I don't think the storm is going to pan out to be as warm as what it's painting across this region here. So if we're seeing that heavy snowfall continue across the Sierra Nevada, that cold air would certainly translate over to this area here where we could be seeing that snow around I-40, okay? Let's move into our storm, move to the 17th now. Friday the 17th, our fast-moving area of low pressure becomes another Colorado-based low. So we have another low-pressure center that's going to evolve out of New Mexico and Colorado. Here is our heavy rain down across the southern plains, our severe weather outbreak again right here, and then our snow across the upper Midwest. Why? We've been seeing this pattern. So I think this might be believable because this has been a part of the pattern that we're seeing. Are we going to be seeing the amount of snow that this is painting here? That heavier snow remains to be seen, but I have confidence in the snow here, Wisconsin, Minnesota, the Dakotas, and then Nebraska, Iowa as well. But across Missouri and Kansas, we'll have to remain and wait and see. All right? Another storm comes on to the west coast, the Pacific Northwest. We're going to be seeing snow across the Cascades, but we're seeing rain down across Northern California and Western Washington and Oregon. So we'll have to see that. But that's been a consistent feature this winter. Again, let's move on into the 18th, which is Saturday, 2 weeks from now. Here is our snow band across the Great Lakes and the upper Midwest. And then our heavy rain along the Gulf Coast here and through the lower Mississippi River Valley. There is our severe thunderstorms being depicted perfectly here. A potential outbreak is being consistent this winter. So I would be inclined to believe that this could happen here in our snow across the upper Midwest and our deformation band, and we're going to be seeing that rain across the southern Great Lakes here in the Midwest. So Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, heavy rain again, snow free. I believe that that's going to pan out. So I think that's realistic because that's what we've been seeing. All right, so on the 19th here, our storm moves into the northeast, the up snow across Canada, the interior, Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, rain along the coast, down across Pennsylvania, New York, being consistent. I believe this. This is believable. Heavy rain along the mid-Atlantic and the southeast, been believable because it's been consistent with what we've been seeing. So this makes sense with the forecast that we've been having. This on the West Coast makes sense. So I have an inclination to believe that. All right, so this is some of the totals that we are looking at, not for one individual storm, but for the extended period through the 21st, which is where the GFS is maxing out to. Look at the output for the Cascades Mountain Range. We're seeing a max output of 149 inches of snow. That's from today through the 21st of March. 69 inches, 80 inches. So we're seeing very heavy snowfall output across the Cascade, the Sierra Nevada through California. Why is that believable? Because we've seen it. We've seen the heavy snow, 93. This is, I believe this right here is near Truckee. This is Donner Pass here, 97 inches, 92 inches, 90 inches. We've seen it lower about the southern Sierra Nevada. This is Yosemite, where we've seen 69 inches. So we're seeing heavy snowfall output for the next 2 weeks. Could even be more. I think that the GFS is kind of lowballing us here because of the output that we've seen so far. But we're going to roll with this, and we're going to be seeing snow across Nevada here through the Great Basin of Nevada. We've seen a lot of snow across that region as well. This is believable. All right, here we are now. This is what I'm having a hard time dealing with. Okay, I wanted to show you this because this is what the GFS is painting across the upper Midwest, particularly across Minnesota. This concerns me greatly. 44 inches of snow through the 21st of March across Minnesota, particularly southern Minnesota up to the Twin Cities. Do I believe this? Head to the no. No. It's not going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. One reason is it's going to get a little bit on the cold side, right? We would need a storm to the south to interact with that cold air. If that cold air pans out and we get a strong enough storm coming up from a strong enough Colorado low, coming from where they typically come from in March, this could break records if this pans out. I'm wavering on this one because I'm not seeing that particular. The storms I'm seeing that could bring snow, according to the GFS right now, into Minnesota, are painting storms that are producing lighter snowfall totals. I'm not seeing the barn buster in the models, but this is depicting that we could see 40 plus inches of snow before the 21st. I mean, it's maxing out at 49 inches. Okay? Unbelievable. I don't want to believe this, man. I don't want to believe this output here. I could believe this here, these 20 inches or so across the Dakotas and into Nebraska. Even that's a little bit high because they've been seeing lower output here, especially across Nebraska. But this, we've had a good winter. We've had a good snowfall this winter. We've had over 50 inches already. But to get this much in the next couple of weeks, hell to the no. I don't buy it at all. I'm a fool. I'd be a fool if it did pan out. I'll be like, what? Okay, but with everything I know about the weather, which is a lot, so this, I don't believe. I just had to show it to you because I thought it was crazy. 40 inches in the month of March, that would be a record. March can be one of our snowiest months, okay? We'll give it that. We average about 10 inches of snow in March. Okay, 40 inches? Yeah, that would be a record. A record. Now we're going to take one more. We're going to take a look at the Northeast. Now we got model output showing 38 inches maximum out across northern Pennsylvania, parts of upstate New York. That's not going to happen either. I know the GFS is painting that nor'easter at the end, toward the end of the last batch of forecasts. We're looking at that nor'easter about the 18th, potentially, according to the GFS. Could that put down enough snow to give us these kind of snow totals up across Pennsylvania? No, because we haven't seen snowfall outputs from any nor'easters this year. Could we see a nor'easter? Could we see a pattern change? There is a pattern change that is coming about the 10th that will bring more cold air down across the northern tier of the United States through the Great Lakes, the upper Midwest, and the high plains. We are going to see an outbreak of cold air that could potentially spread enough cold air to the northeast that we could see a nor'easter come up from the south and blow in enough northeastern air that can bring down cold air from that batch of Arctic air coming across the Great Lakes, that it could produce a good snowfall. Would it be 38 inches? I doubt it. A good couple feet, maybe a footer, maybe a foot, possibly. But again, I'm going to err on caution with this one as well. I just thought it was a little ridiculous compared to what we've seen so far. But a significant pattern change could do this. But I don't see the longevity in that pattern change and the timing of an approaching nor'easter to bring the ingredients together to produce a snowfall like that. So here's a look at our potential with freezing rain through the I need to get this. This should run, but it's not running. Oh, there we go. All right, so here we go. All right, so let's go back to the previous map. This is going to, maybe this one is not set up that way, but this is going to be our freezing rain and ice potential through the 21st. So southern Minnesota, the Dakotas, as well as Iowa, through the Great Lakes here, the southern Great Lakes, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, and parts of Pennsylvania and the Virginias. Our freezing rain zone, I like to call this area. We're going to be seeing that potential for more freezing rain. And this is a painting about anywhere from a trace to a tenth of an inch up to a half inch. A few areas could pick up an inch or more. Right here across Iowa, and then Pennsylvania and the West Virginia could be seeing up to an inch, maybe a half inch to an inch of freezing rain periodically through the 21st. Then here's a look at, we look at all the precipitation through the 21st, and we're seeing our storms come across. Look at how the precipitation mainly focuses on the Great Lakes and through this region here. Here is our severe weather coming in from the southern plains. See that? That pattern is going to continue through the 9th. Here's our potential. Now okay. Now here's what that storm there is what could produce our Could this storm produce our 44-incher across the upper Midwest? Could one storm produce 44 inches? But see, look at these storms. This is light snow coming across. This is more further to the south, right? This is about the 8th. Now we're at the 9th. Now here we are with the 10th. Look at that heavy snow there. Wow. The 11th, the 10th. So about March the 10th and the 11th, we're looking at that storm that could produce heavy snowfall. And that could be at least a foot or more. Then we have another storm. This is the 12th, March the 12th. But look at that's further to the south. Then at the mid parts of the Pennsylvania, the mid-Atlantic. Now we are the 14th. Here we are again, the interior. Here we are there. There's our nor'easter. There, look at that heavy snow. This is the GFS. And here's another big one. Woo, look at that. This is about the 17th and the 18th. A big one there across the upper Midwest. Look at our West Coast storm on the 20th. All right. So we got some big storms that's going to come through and affect the West Coast, and then affect the upper Great Midwest, the Great Lakes, the Northeast. We got our severe storms down across the South, the Southeast as well, and heavy rain. So very stormy March is on tap, and we can see potential record snowfalls across the upper Midwest into the Great Lakes. Severe weather continuing across the South, and then our record storms across the western United States. So that is a look at those. Here's a look at some of the temperatures And what we're going to be seeing today, this is those temperatures that we saw, warmth across the south. Look at those 80s down across the Gulf Coast, the southeast. But we're seeing those temperatures across the 30s, pretty seasonal temperatures across the upper Midwest and in the Great Lakes and the Northeast. But the unusual warmth down here across the south, we're looking at 80s, temperatures in the mid 80s, maybe a 90 or so across Florida. Then tomorrow, look at that. Those 80s continue, but the temperatures stay consistent here. They're at 80s, 30s in the north. Those 30s are going to continue, but we can see those temperatures above freezing across the Great Lakes, the upper Midwest, but we're seeing it cold across the plains. Look at those 20s across the plains, the high plains into Montana, upper teens. So we're starting to see that cold air filter down out of Canada as we move into the 9th here. So on the 9th, which is Thursday, we're seeing those temperatures cool down across the northern plains, still above freezing in Minnesota around the Twin Cities, and in Wisconsin, we're in the mid 30s, which is really good. That's going to help that radiation is going to help melt snow, but that means that we're going to be staying, now we're supposed to have a storm, but that's above freezing, so that gives us rain and snow mix. So again, the light accumulations, but that cold is going to continue across the Rockies. Warm air is going to continue across the Gulf Coast, the southern plains, but we're seeing it cool down along the southeast. Look at that cooler across the southeast. Another surge of warmer air across the south as we have another storm advancing to the east. Now as we get into Saturday, we're looking at temperatures about freezing across the Great Lakes and the upper Midwest, still warm across Michigan, warmer the Northeast, still above freezing, those temperatures in the 40s. So again, no snow for that region, still warm across the Southeast, the Gulf Coast, and the Southwest. We're seeing temperatures hitting the 70s in Phoenix, in Tucson, Southern California. We're seeing temperatures cool off in Texas because we have a storm moving through. 60s down in Texas, but still 80s along the immediate Gulf Coast, 70s as well. So we're going to see things start to cool off across the southeast and along the Gulf Coast as we get to the end of the week. So that was a look at that. Here is our temperatures again through, this is a GFS look at those temperatures through the 21st. Again, those overnight lows, that's what that's looking like. So that was a look at your weather forecast, an analytical look at the GFS because it goes out 21 days, so to the 21st. My name is Mr. G. For this, thanks for watching this video. If you can tolerate this type of video, leave your likes, comments, and subscribe. Bye-bye.